What if within your own body existed an invisible thread, an ancestral cord connecting your mind with your soul, your breath with your peace, and your stomach with your emotional state? What if I told you this thread has been ignored for centuries in the West, but revered as sacred by the world's most ancient esoteric traditions and spiritual lineages across time? That thread exists. It has a scientific name, the vagus nerve. But its true name, in the language of spirit, could be the channel of incarnated soul, the serpent of calm, the ladder between worlds, or the golden key of the inner temple. This nerve, the longest and deepest of the entire nervous system, is also the hidden bridge between your physiology and your divinity itself, between matter and spirit. Many think spirituality is something ethereal, completely separate from the body, accessible only through complex rituals or ascetic practices performed in isolation from daily life. But ancestral wisdom teaches otherwise. True spirituality dwells in the body, flows through its sacred channels, and expresses itself in how we breathe, feel, eat, and rest with consciousness. The vagus nerve is that sacred door awaiting your recognition and intentional activation. When you activate it deliberately and consistently, you awaken a profound state of equilibrium, healing, and expanded consciousness beyond ordinary perception. You need no external substances, no grand ceremonies, no years of monastic preparation. You only need to listen to the internal pulse of your being and learn to vibrate in harmony with it naturally. This is the simplicity of true power and authentic spiritual practice. In this video, we reveal the esoteric, anatomical, and energetic secrets of the vagus nerve that have been hidden or forgotten by modern consciousness. We will explain not only its mysterious pathway through your body, but also how to stimulate it simply yet powerfully through practices ranging from conscious breathing to sacred sound, therapeutic massage, deep meditation, and mindful nutrition integrated into life. You will learn why this nerve connects with your vital organs, your emotional state, and your spiritual health at the deepest levels. You will discover how harmonizing it brings genuine calm to your agitated mind, order to your troubled digestion, and profound peace to your soul. Most importantly, you will understand why activating it is one of the most underestimated practices for the awakening of consciousness itself. Prepare yourself completely. What you are about to discover is not merely knowledge or information. It is a key toward the living temple that is you. To understand the magnitude of the vagus nerve in the spiritual field, we must first recognize its function on the physical plane. This nerve, also called the 10th cranial pair, is the longest and most complex of the autonomic nervous system. Its name comes from the Latin vagus, meaning wandering, because it literally traverses and connects multiple organs, from the brain, passing through the throat, heart, lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines. Its presence is so vast that it can be considered the communication system between heaven and earth within the human body. From a physiological viewpoint, the vagus nerve regulates essential involuntary functions: heart rate, breathing, digestion, inflammatory response, and even sleep patterns. But from an esoteric perspective, its function is even more powerful. It is the channel through which the body enters a state of receptivity, spiritual openness, and profound restoration and regeneration. When the sympathetic nervous system activates, the body enters fight or flight mode. Everything accelerates. we become reactive, tense, fragmented. But when the vagus nerve activates, the parasympathetic system ignites. The body returns to a state of calm, introspection, and deep regeneration. In that state, inner doors open, brain waves soften, organs vibrate in harmony, and consciousness expands beyond ordinary limits. This is what many mystics and yogis describe as state of grace, fertile void, or pure presence. It is not magic. It is sacred biology expressing itself through the nervous system. Have you wondered why many spiritual techniques begin with breathing? Why deep sighs appear in moments of peace or emotional release? Because the vagus nerve responds directly to slow, conscious, diaphragmatic breathing. By breathing deeply, especially directing air toward the abdomen, you stimulate receptors, sending signals to activate calm. But more than the body calms, the energetic field opens. When you breathe this way consistently, you begin feeling chest expansion, warmth in the belly, lightness in the head. These sensations are not merely physical. They are signs that energy flows harmoniously, that you are beginning to attune with your internal axis. In the chakra system, the vagus nerve interacts especially with the heart chakra, anahata, the center of balance, love, and healing. It is no accident that activating the vagus opens the chest, stabilizes the pulse, and creates a more loving connection with surroundings. Until now, we have understood the vagus nerve as a channel of physiological and emotional regulation, but its true power manifests when it transcends the biological dimension and acts as an energetic antenna, connecting the human being with subtler levels of perception, with the soul, and even with the universal field of consciousness itself. The ancient sages did not speak of autonomic nervous systems, nor neurotransmitters. However, they knew the effects of certain practices: rhythmic breathing, sound toning, fasting, immersion in nature, specific body postures, that today we know stimulate the vagus nerve. What they described as awakening of soul, inner voice, or channel of God, we can now understand as the expansion of perception, facilitated by vagal activation and neuroplasticity. This nerve, by calming the mind and relaxing the body, creates space for intuitive consciousness. In more esoteric terms, what it does is diminish the noise of personality, allowing the vibration of the soul to emerge into awareness. In this sense, it is not only a channel of peace, but a mystical threshold between dimensions of consciousness. Recent scientific studies have demonstrated that when the vagus nerve is stimulated repeatedly, production of oxytocin increases, the hormone of love and connection. Acetylcholine also activates, favoring mental clarity, and cortisol release decreases, the stress hormone. Fascinatingly, these biochemical changes have not only physical impact, but also modify the personal energetic field, making it more coherent, more stable, more receptive to higher frequencies. This field, known in many traditions as the aura, becomes more harmonious when the body is in parasympathetic balance. And precisely in these states do phenomena appear that many consider paranormal: premonitions, lucid dreams, empathic communication, sudden creativity, meaningful synchronicities. Does this mean the vagus nerve is a door to the mystical? Actually, yes, because by calming body and mind, the human being's central energetic channel cleans, and then higher consciousness can descend, manifest, or communicate directly. Beyond basic practices like diaphragmatic breathing or chanting, deeper methods exist, Working with the vagus in spiritual context. Induced tremoring for trauma release. Sensory withdrawal for meditative states. Sound baths with Tibetan bowls and gongs resonating with cranial nerves, all inducing theta brainwaves linked to visionary states and spiritual integration experiences themselves. Knowing that the vagus nerve is a pathway to higher states of consciousness and profound healing means little if we do not apply it. This section is an invitation to integrate that knowledge into daily life. You need not live in a temple nor in perpetual retreat. Your most powerful spiritual practice can begin now, in the silence of your breath, in reverence for your body, in the presence of each day. The vagus nerve, being a regulatory channel, responds better to consistency than to intensity. Small habits, practiced with devotion and presence, have more effect than great sporadic efforts. Below, I share essential practices for awakening this sacred nerve from your daily life itself, without complications or special requirements. First, deep diaphragmatic breathing. Make conscious breathing a ritual. Each morning, before checking your phone, sit in quietude. Place your hands on your abdomen. Inhale through your nose, counting to 4. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale slowly, counting to 6. Repeat this cycle for 5 minutes. This breathing activates receptors in the diaphragm, directly stimulating the vagus nerve. But do not do this as physical exercise. Do it as if touching a sacred chord within you. Breathe as one who invokes the divine. Second, the power of sound, mantras, and vibration. The vagus nerve responds intensely to vocal vibration. Singing mantras like Om, AH, or repeating power phrases like I am peace, I am centered, or I am, with soft and sustained tone, stimulates its laryngeal branch. Do this during your shower, while walking, or in moments of anxiety. The goal is not singing beautifully, but vibrating internally, like a bowl tuning itself from within. Third, contact with nature and baths of silence. Walking barefoot on earth, sitting beneath a tree, listening to wind without doing anything. These activate the vagus through stimulus reduction and return to natural rhythm. In those moments, your parasympathetic system takes command, heart rate lowers, and your energy reorganizes. Make silence a temple, not as punishment, but as sacred balm. Fourth, massage at key points. Gently stimulate the neck area near the carotid, earlobes, and the base of the skull. These zones are rich in vagal branches. Touching them with consciousness and slowness induces calm throughout the system. Do this at day's end, thanking yourself for what you lived. Convert that gesture into an act of spiritual love and self-reverence. We have traveled a profound and little explored path, one that does not go outward, but inward, toward the core of your being and consciousness. Today you understand that you need not climb mountains, nor seek secret initiations in distant lands to access the spiritual plane. True initiation begins in your sacred physiology, in that invisible tissue uniting your physical body with your expanded consciousness, the vagus nerve itself. Far from being merely a nervous system component, this channel is a bridge between the tangible and the subtle, between your emotional experience and your divine connection, between your anxiety and your harmony. By actively cultivating this energy axis with intention and daily practice, you improve not only physical and emotional health, but reactivate the inner temple, the place where your soul can sit in silence and speak to you directly. It is no accident that so many traditions have centered on breathing, sound, chanting, silence, and gentle touch, all sacred ways of awakening the deep nervous system. All are pathways for spirit to fully inhabit the body once again and work through it. We live in an era where external stimuli keep us in constant alert and agitation. Stress is not merely discomfort, it is spiritual disconnection. And the vagus nerve, when dysregulated, prevents us from hearing the heart's wisdom, intuition's voice, and the soul's stillness. Therefore, cultivating vagal health is mystical resistance, choosing to return to yourself, deciding to live from your true center and essence. But this path requires no complications or elaborate systems. Begin with one simple act, conscious breathing, done with reverence and intention. Because that instant of pause, where you inhale deeply and exhale with presence, opens sacred space for your soul to enter and communicate with you directly. Remember this profound truth. You are not your thoughts, emotions, or fears. You are the one observing them from within, the eternal witness. And that within has a door, a gateway. That door is subtle, vibrant, alive, and eternally present. That door is the vagus nerve itself, waiting patiently for your recognition and activation. I invite you to make your body a sanctuary of reverence and respect. To make each gesture sacred, your rest, your food, your silence, your voice. To honor your biology as fertile ground where the eternal flowers eternally. To understand that true power does not dwell outside, but beats in your plexus, your throat, your sacred breath constantly. We have reached the culmination of this journey into the depths of your own being. Now you understand that what seemed a simple nervous system pathway is far more. It is a bridge between worlds, a key to inner sanctuaries, a technology of the soul waiting to be remembered and activated. The vagus nerve is not a medical curiosity, but a sacred conduit through which your divinity expresses itself into matter. Lived in a state of chronic stress and constant stimulation, most people have forgotten how to access the parasympathetic realm where the vagus nerve reigns. We have been taught to prize productivity, speed, and external achievement, often at the cost of inner peace, genuine health, and spiritual connection. But the body remembers. The soul remembers, and the vagus nerve, patient and eternal, continues to offer its gift to those willing to listen. The practices shared in this video, conscious breathing, sacred sound, nature contact, gentle massage, emotional acceptance, are not mere wellness techniques. They are acts of remembrance, ways of saying to your body, I honor you as the temple of my soul. I choose presence over distraction. I choose peace over fear. Each time you practice, you are literally rewiring your nervous system. But more importantly, you are rebuilding your relationship with yourself and with existence. In our modern world, spiritual awakening is often sought through exotic practices or external teachers. Yet the most direct path has always been here, beneath your awareness, woven into your physiology. The vagus nerve is your inner guru, your silent guide, your constant companion offering restoration and wisdom. Activating it is not adding something foreign to yourself, but remembering what you have always been. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you may notice subtle shifts. Deeper sleep, clearer thinking, unexpected moments of joy, spontaneous healing. These are not miracles, but the natural expression of a nervous system returning to balance. But more profoundly, you will begin recognizing the sacred within the ordinary, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the silence between thoughts. This is the true power of the vagus nerve. It teaches that spirituality is not separate from life, but woven into every cell, every breath, every moment of conscious presence. You are already home. You have always been home. The vagus nerve simply reminds you to stop wandering and truly feel it.